We are back. It has definitely been a bit since our last stream. I think like at least over a week now. And that's just me dealing with a lot of viral stuff, university assessments and all that. But we're back. Today, I want to continue to work on the Arsenal system that I started last stream. We're going to go into some of the actual slime data, making the slimes have pretty much actual data to them as creatures instead of just being a blob that essentially randomly jumps around. And also see if we can get started on the team manager menu. Maybe throwing slimes, but we'll just see how it goes. I'll probably be live for like 2.5 hours, so not a ton of time, but enough time to at least get into it and see what we can create. So with that said, let's just jump straight into it, really. So last time, in the last stream, we ended up getting the Arsenal viewer, or the team viewer, essentially, on the menu. So we press E to cycle through all of the selected slimes, and then Q to cycle back up. Now, right now, it's basically just visual UI. There's no data behind any of these slime icons. They're all basic slimes, and the name's obviously not changing as well. So our first priority, first step, I think, is to create an actual arsenal of slimes, essentially, like an actual group of creatures that the player currently has in their arsenal or in their team. So let's do that. We have our Arsenal manager that we created last time, so we'll probably just continue on with this script, I think. So let's see here. What we need is essentially kind of like an inventory, but just a list of 6 slimes. It can only be 6, so that's pretty easy to actually do, I think. So let's go. You can put this under the player variables, I guess. And we might put the player input. Yeah, we might as well put the player input underneath player variables. Okay. So what we want, and I'm going to serialize the field for now. We're not going to have it serialized completely. Or in the end, essentially, I just want to have it now so I can see the actual slimes in the arsenal. So what we're going to make is a list of slimes, so an array of slimes, which will give it a hard count of 6 slimes, which is essentially the size of the arsenal. Okay, so now that we have that, we head back and go to the Arsenal manager. We can see here our slimes list here. I'll just give that a second to recompile. There we go. Okay. So now we can select. We have a basic slime here, which is in the scene view. So we need to store technically the slime's data. So let's have a look on how I've made my slimes all set up. Let's just close all that. So this is the core slime class, I guess. Has all of the data for moving, and it is a mono behavior with slime type being a scriptable object. And the scriptable object should be the default data, right? So it's not going to be all of that updated live data of each individual slime. Okay. Let's go ahead and we'll make a new slime class. I think if we go over to our basic slime, we don't have a script just for the basic slime yet, so I guess we could just do that. Maybe. No, or basic slime. Okay, I think we'll just do that in the basic slime. I think that makes the most sense. Basically, oh, not slime type, the actual slime. So we're going to deal with all of their general variables here, which is a bit messy just because we have all of the movement code. So we might try to clean that up at some point. For now, we can leave it in probably general variables. And again, we're just serializing everything so that I can see it in the inspector while developing. So what we definitely need is the slime's name. So we can do that here. That's inheritor. Let's slime name then. Every slime, I'm not sure if we're going to have levels or not. I think it would be good to have levels, but it just might be a bit messy. So for now, if we had just a custom name for the slime, then we can, I guess, print out their name just so that we know that it's working. So let's look into that. And slimes won't have health. That's one thing that they pretty much definitely will not have. Because I don't want your creatures to be able to die. And I don't think we're going to do like a passing out system like Pokemon does. I think that's a bit useless, so... Let's see. I'm just trying to think on how we can actually create the individual data for the slimes. Because obviously they can't be game objects. Game objects, great for when they're running around, not good when you need to just store their data. Might put that basic slime up there. That way he can bounce around from here. I don't know why the grid snapping's not working on that. Let's do that there. Okay. That way we can see how the general basic slimes interact. But yeah, so we need to store the data pretty much in an instance. I guess we can just start. We can just test it in the Arsenal Manager, I guess, for now. We'll also need to actually show the icon of that slime type, which we'll be getting directly from the slimes. Where is it here? Slime type class, which, let's bring it over on the left. Right now it just has some movement speed, so we will add an actual image icon to that. We'll put that probably under general variables. And what type of image are we actually using here? Alright, we're doing it through UI Builder. Over here. Nope. So we're just using a default texture for it. So we can just use texture. Call this icon. I guess that will work for now. And then we can go over to the basic slime. We'll check that out, and let's also lock it. We can just add in the basic slime icon text there, or image there. Okay, so we have the icon. So we'll change, and then we'll try to just read the slime's name first, and then we will actually try to change the image. So for now, what we can do is just create a new slime, I guess, which should be pretty easy, I think. We'll see. Let's give it a default constructor, because I don't think we have one of those yet. Now, I don't know if we should be doing this inside of a mono behavior class. That's my only concern right now, but I don't think it's going to matter. I'm just not too sure. But let's make a default constructor. If I can remember how to actually write constructors. That's been a bit. Yes, just the same way it's a function, like that. Okay. So we'll give it a slime type. So let's go slime type is equal to type, and for the name, slime name, we can give it maybe just a random string. I guess it doesn't matter if we just give it a random name for now. We'll do that. I don't know why it's all grayed out. Okay, that works. Make it public because it's a constructor, that's fine. So in the Arsenal manager, we're going to create a new slime using slime type of the basic slime type. So go, and then basic slime type. So this will create just our own slime class. Now, I still feel like we shouldn't be doing this in mono behavior. I'm not sure. What's the UI? It just takes a second to pop in. I'm just trying to think if we, because the other option would be to split into another script. So we have slime type, which will be the scriptable object, which stores essentially purely just the default data, essentially for each slime type. Then have like a script that's mono behavior just for slime control, and then another one just for slime data. I feel like that's just going to be cleaner. Because we don't want... The hard thing is we don't want to have the... where is it? Slime. If we want to get rid of mono behavior, so we're not going to have slime... Like the slime data be just a above level thing, and then slime inherits from that, because then we'd have to be applying mono behavior pretty much top down, so we can't do that. So we can just make, I guess, a new script, at least for now. That's just an empty script, and this class will be the slime's data. It will store all of their information, and I guess we'll just reference that. It'll be easy to do in-game, because we can just have a component for slime data, and one for slime controller or something below. So I think we'll do that. So let's just open up slime data, and let's go ahead and rename the slime script to slime controller, just so it's a little bit clearer between the two, the data and the controller. And then we rename it here, controller. Now, default constructor, we can get rid of. Now we can handle some of this stuff separately. So let's go ahead and get a variables region so that we can collapse it all. So the slime type and even the slime name, which we can actually just do name now as well. Because it's not getting anything from mono behavior, I think just doing the word name should be fine. So if we're doing that, then we can remove this string. And as far as getting the slime type, I don't think that's going to matter for basic movement. I assume I'm not using it anywhere. Yeah. So we'll get rid of slime type. We'll keep the state because that won't matter. Now everything is stored in slime data, and that's what we're going to be creating a copy of, essentially, for the arsenal. So let's do that. Maybe we'll just call it team or something. We still have the basic slime type that we'll have to implement. Then we'll go create a new set of slime data. We need to add that constructor back in, which I think I've removed from the controller. Yes. So we'll just make a default constructor for the slime data. So I think all we really need to pass is the slime type for now. Like, obviously, when we have slimes that we're picking up, we'll make it so that you can also put in a more advanced constructor with the name and any other data that we're adding. So for now, we just need the slime type. Let's do that. I need to remember to make these ones public. I always forget to make the constructors public because I'm just used to everything be private, at least for functions, variables, or that, unless you need it to be public. Okay. So now we just pass in the slime type. Is slime type. There we go. Should be that way around. And for now, we'll just pass in default name. Just call it slimy. There we go. So we've created our default slime. And then we can just add that to the team. So what we'll do is, I think to make this work for testing, we will go put it in like the 3rd slot. And then that way we can make sure that it's actually going in the correct slots as well. So we'll just essentially put that in there. Add slime. And we'll use the name. I think that makes it easier to understand what's going on. Add slimy to 3rd slot in the team. Okay. So now what we'll do is every time that we change our current selection, actually, yep, team list is the actual visual element. We might change that word. I don't like the fact that we're using team list as the word for the visual element, so we might change that. For now, though, what we can do is I need to remember my consoles. I've been working in Python and JavaScript all day. Is it? Hold up. Debug log, right? Yes. Okay. Debug log, we're going to go to the team using the current selection. And we're using the name. So slime data wise, this actually does need to be public. So let's do that there. So now we should be able to get the name of the slime. And this is for if we're pressing Arsenal up. So that'll be pressing the Q button. And we need to just update the editor as well. This is for the slime controller. It just makes it a bit easier to read in the inspector. So let's wait for that to compile. Okay. Ooh, mouse is a bit laggy. So now if we hit play, what should happen is once we get to the 3rd slot, so this one here, it should tell us that the slime... Well, it should tell us the slime's name, which is Slimy. So let's see. We just instantly get an error. That's not useful at all. Team current selection dot name. I think that makes sense. Okay, let's get rid of this because I'm getting constant errors on that. So if the team current selection is not null, there we go. Okay. This should work. We'll press Q. It'll go up, I think, 4 times, which will get us to this spot. So Q, 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 and Q. Slimy. Good. Now we have our slime starter. Let's actually display the icon of the slime. Hello, Arke. I am finally back. It's been a bit busy, but I am back. I promise I'm going to be a bit more active streaming. We're going to try to get some of this stuff done. So what I'm working on right now is just the actual slime's data itself. So we've split slime controller. So the original slime script, we've split into the controller and the slime data class. And then this way we can store the slime's data in the arsenal. And then we can also essentially summon a slime, and it will throw out the slime prefab, which will have a slime controller and a slime data class as components. So we're just connecting this up to the arsenal that I made in the last stream. Okay, so what we should do now then is we'll go ahead and get rid of these slime icons, because we're not going to need them, as we're going to actually set it to the slime's icon. Did a spider get you, or was it just a hornet? It was just work. A lot of work. I mean, I think to give some... I don't know, what's happening here? Okay, I need to look into that. Oh no, right, that's a shadow icon. Okay. I get that. Yeah, to put in some perspective, essentially, of all of the tasks that I'm working on right now, obviously I have full-time university, which I have 2 assessments due in 5 days, so that'll be something for me to deal with. But then dealing with, I am a member of a mod team for Minecraft. I am obviously working on my slime game. I'm working on my website, Abound Worlds, still trying to get features done there. Couple other small projects. I try to do an hour of drawing each day and an hour of archery each day, which drains a lot of time as well. Sounds harsh. It just is what it is, realistically. I think this is fine. Yeah, I mean, realistically, it just is what it is. Like, I've decided to put on all of these tasks for myself, right? So it's not like I can complain. Just a lot to get done. And I also do, like, have a tiny resale business, which makes no money. Like, nothing to take out. I can just reinvest any money back into inventory. They're just dealing with shipping and stuff. Okay, so we have no images. I feel like if we don't have images, we shouldn't have the shadows. I think that makes the most sense. So we could just do a display, I guess. I don't know if they... No, display. Impact on the layout. That just hides it. Okay, we'll just do visibility. Turn off the visibility. And then if there's a slime there, we'll re-enable it. There we go. So now, at the very start, after we've added Slimy to our arsenal, what we need to do, I guess, is pretty much just go through the team and add their icons. So for each slime in the arsenal, display slime icon, I guess. We might rename that. I think definitely calling it a list makes the most sense. Maybe, I mean, if we're just trying to be consistent, we should call it an arsenal. Arsenal list. That'll be fine. Can we also name the arsenal? Yeah, so I think I understand what you were saying in like that last reply you made to my comment. So my initial thoughts were that the arsenal itself would be a fixed thing to the player. So if you think of things like Pokemon, it's less of like a belt where you can change a belt to like your exploration belt and then change to another belt. It was more just you have 6 slimes that you can run around with. But as I've been thinking about it, I do kind of like the idea potentially of having like a belt essentially, so being able to quickly change an arsenal to be one dedicated for exploring, one dedicated for traversal through like some of the fire regions, one dedicated for going underwater, that type of stuff. So I think for now, for ease of coding, it's going to be a fixed thing to the player. But I do like the idea, and I think I will eventually make it so that you can actually change your arsenal. And if that's the case, then we'll have it where you can name your arsenal so you know which one you're picking. If that makes sense. We might just call it Arsenal, honestly. I think that it's good for cohesiveness. So if slime data is not null, I guess, then we'll go get team list. Sounds fair. It is a detail for the finish. Exactly. I mean, to be honest, right now the core goal is to get the Arsenal system done. So it will probably be at least in like the next month or so that I add in being able to change your arsenals. But I think because that's not going to be too hard to add once I get to it. So I think the core thing right now is going to be just getting the team manager menu up, being able to actually throw your slimes and stuff and pick them back up. Once we have all that done, then we can deal about, can we have, different groups of arsenals or like different belts essentially that we can hot swap. Okay, so let's see. We're always going to need this team list, frankly. So I think we can just add that in the start. Let's say UI element. So we already have the root element. So let's just go another one for the team list element. I think calling it team list element will be a little bit better. Get UI elements. There we go. And then all we have to do is, I think, just get the current selection and then add the texture. So get current, well, I guess get slime element. Vaguely works. Which would just be team list element. Yes, team list element. And then we need the index number, don't we? Okay. I need to remember how for each loops work. Can we add an index for that, or should I just do a for loop? It should be a way, right? Yeah, okay. I think just doing a for loop will be easiest. I is less than the Arsenal length. Will increase I. If Arsenal at I, and then we can just go get I here. Cool. Then set the slime element icon, which should be, I think, texture. What's it actually called in the UI builder? You could first put out a tutorial game where things are simpler, but you still have a lot of things you could do. Basically, a base game that introduces a full game that comes later. Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I really want to avoid is the idea and kind of the stigma that gets created around the idea of early access, right? Having a really small part of the game, yeah, it's cool to, get people to be able to play it, they can enjoy it, but I think it's a really bad mindset for me as a developer to get into, because then I'm going to start thinking about things from a sense of, well, it's not finished, so they'll deal with it. Like Hollow Knight. Yeah, it's a tough one, because I liked when Subnautica Below Zero first came out, and for that matter, the first game as well for Subnautica, I liked playing the early access of it. I got at least Below Zero when it first came out into early access, and it was fun, but I also did get bored quick, right? Because obviously the game's not complete, and then all of my save, and this is, I think, a key thing. One of the main things I want to focus on with my games as a whole, I don't want people to ever lose their progression. And one thing that happened in Subnautica Below Zero, because it was an early access thing, is I would build my base, I would, get vehicles, and then they'd release a new build, and my save file would get corrupted. That's just kind of is what it is for these type of games, if they're in early access, but I'm not a big fan of that. Yeah, I think it's just called image. Oh. Okay, what is it? Do I actually have to search for it? The set. Nope. I meant that is a separate game for the launcher. Yeah, I think I don't want to put out a dud. I think that's my big thing. Is if I were to have like a Steam page, I don't want anything to ever get like mixed reviews. I think that's really bad, and it's a bad signal for future customers trying to go into the actual complete game. I might make a demo level or something for people to try out, but I don't think I would release it as like a standalone small version of the game before like a year or something before the actual full game comes out. The first one will be set in space before you land in a planet of slimes. So, my current plan, and the actual lore, because I have thought about the lore a bit, is the fundamental lore for this game is that you're an explorer who has been sent down into your actual planet. So in this case, I guess, essentially, you've just been sent down on Earth or something into an underground cave system. And that's really where it comes down. You could go down there as a researcher, and you're there to research. And then, yeah. So that's the core crux of it. It's kind of a mix, I would say, of like Slime Rancher, where you're going there to explore, find slimes, but then also Slug Terror, where it's just the world beneath your feet, essentially. I do have thoughts about how I would do a second game, because I am actually interested in potentially doing a second game for this. But I don't want to think about it too much, otherwise I'm going to start like cutting features from the first game. I definitely don't want to do that. But if I were to do a second game, then the story would try to connect together. So one of the key things that I really want to do with my games is I want players to be able to continue to play the first game and the second game. So if I release a second game, as an example, the story might be another new cavern has opened up. Right? It doesn't need to be super like lore intensive. They found a new cavern and you get sent there through a portal, and the portal doesn't let you take any of your items with you. Then later down in that second game, you end up being able to essentially upgrade your portal, and it lets you travel between your save file of your first game and your second game. And then that way you can actually kind of have a bigger base. You can have, you can explore both regions of the first and second game in one game. I think that's a cool idea, and I think that would help draw a lot of players in, because, they're not going to miss out on the first game if another game comes out. They're going to get the first game and the second game. And they can choose how to play it, right? Like, they could create a new save file where they just start on that second map, or they could choose to start on the first map, or choose to continue their save file from the first game straight into the second map, and so on. I don't know how to find this. Just like Slug Terror, where they went to fight the Emperor. Yeah, essentially things like that. Just, go through a portal, you find a whole new world or a new cavern, essentially. I think that's the coolest way to do it. And I think it ties in nicely, because players will be able to just continue their adventure, keep going, find new slimes, and maybe even bring back some upgrades from the second game. Like, if I add new abilities for the player, they can bring that into the first game. And because the first game's map would come to the second game, as an example, I'd also be able to do, graphical updates. I'd be able to do more bug fixes. And it would still be financially worth it for me, right? Like, you can't keep updating the same game years after it releases. But you can update your new game and just bring some of that old stuff into it. Okay, I need to figure this out. I'm just not understanding why I can't select an image. There's no image option, and there's no background option. Minecraft could. Yeah, but Minecraft is a unique thing. I mean, Minecraft can keep funding themselves, because it's less about Minecraft sales at this point, right? They don't need sales of the base game. They sell things around the world of Minecraft, right? Minecraft Dungeons comes out. They release merch for Minecraft. And also, they've embedded themselves into the education system, so every kid will grow up playing Minecraft. It's kind of similar to a game like No Man's Sky, I think, where No Man's Sky, like, they're not embedded in the gaming industry or in education or anything like that, but they keep making updates to the game. However, the only reason why they can do that and add new expansions is because they're using their first game, No Man's Sky, as a test bed to continue development of their engine for their next game. So it really just depends on how you do it, but especially for an indie studio solo develop, it gets a lot harder. Okay. Is it just a style? Because that's doing a background image. I don't want a background image. I just want the image itself. I'm just trying to figure out how I can reset the image icon. Well, I mean, it is under background. Maybe it is just a background image style. We can try it, I guess. So we go slimy.slime type and get their icon, which is private. So we need to make that public. Then we can remove the serialized field because it's not going to matter if it's public. And that should theoretically just work now. Dot icon. We need to actually set the texture. Have you seen the amazing Digital Circus? I have not. I have no idea what that is. Actually, wonder if I can just make it an image. Just a UI image, I guess. Let's see. So, go to our basic slime type. Yeah, the icon still shows. I guess we'll see. Set basic slime type. I don't see any image. It's definitely under the background setting, so if it were to show, it would show here. Here we go. Cannot implicitly convert type UI image to a style background. Okay, what do I need to do to convert that? Just convert it to a style background, I guess? We'll see. The new style background. If that's the case, we can leave it as a texture, I think. Might need to be a texture 2D, I'm not sure. Can't do a texture, okay. Let's try texture 2D. Yes. I wanted to use that as an example, but can do without. There was a sense where 2D animation was created using 3D models. Right. Sounds interesting. There we go. Okay, we have our icon. It's not exactly in the circle, like I would want, but we have the icon. And I have a ton of lag. What's going on here? It's just... Okay, I don't know why my screen is lagging. I mean, I'm only setting this once in start, so that's a bit confusing to me, but that's working. Yeah, we're only setting this in start. I have no idea why my game was lagging there. I mean, that was well below 60 FPS on an average. I don't know what's happening. Let me check my task manager. I got plenty of memory. What is happening to my game? Let's just remove this, I guess. I have no idea why it's lagging so much. It could just be the editor being up for a while. Like, yeah, that's... I mean, it's only once I move, so... My scene view as well. We might try restarting the editor, I think. Because that lag is unbearable. Let's just relaunch this. Well, we have the background image working, so the only thing left to do, and we can actually remove this console log now, because we know that that's not needed. The only thing left to do to connect up all the slime data, I want the icon centered. I don't know what's happening there where it's stuck to the bottom. And then I want to add the shadows if there's a slime there. I think that's it. I think those two things. So then after that, we can get started in setting up the team manager UI. And maybe actually being able to throw slimes. Because once we can throw the slimes, then we can actually test out a lot of the core functionality. Okay. Let's see if this works. Hopefully it's a little bit nicer on me. Yeah, that's way better. Way more smooth. That's good. Okay. Let's figure out what's going on with our image here. The texture is still 125%, which is good. Oh, wait. Yeah. Let's pull out the UI toolkit. Just so we can test this. So if I were to increase the width by 147%, I can't do that in runtime, it just breaks everything. That's annoying. Let's just clear that then. Because the texture works when it's not, like when it's just added directly in the code here. So something is happening, and that could just be the way the background image is being set up. I mean, that's on a texture, which is what we're using, so I don't know why that wouldn't work theoretically. But it actually does resemble. Let me select it. It does resemble what it looked like when I was on 100 by 100. Right? Yeah. So I think maybe I just need to set the width and height manually in the code. Let's try that. The background size is equal to 125%. Maybe a string? I don't know what background size we'll need. Could be a vector too. I guess they're just all classes. I don't know what. Hopefully that's showing it in percentage, because otherwise it's going to be a very big icon. First area could be guarded by an intelligent slime, or slimes who will help the player to understand how to do things. I think... Oh, okay, yeah, that works there. Okay, easy. I think what I want is fundamentally for when the player gets in, it should feel like a new and a very open world. So I think part of the story with them being a researcher is they'll probably have a partner above ground that talks to them, and they'll probably be able to guide them through kind of like your tutorial stages a bit more. Because the slime should be more like critters, in my eyes. But they're critters, they're pets, that type of thing. So probably none that can speak, I think. The code worked. The code did, in fact, work. Now we just need to enable the shadow. Icon shadow. Which the shadow is next to that. So maybe... Actually, I think that, yeah, that makes way more sense. I figured out why this isn't working. Okay. 125 by 125. We're using the slime element, which is actually the container, not the icon visual element. That makes a lot more sense. Okay. Get the slime icon element. Is slime element, and we just query that again as a visual element for, I think it's just called icon. There we go. And then same thing here. Let's get slime shadow element. And then style, this one is just the visibility. So we just set that to visible. I think that should work. Let's see. Let's test it out. Icon's there. I don't see a shadow. That's a bit unfortunate. It is visibility that we did. It's called icon shadow. We just did icon again. That makes sense. Icon shadow. Like trying to find the word that was wrong in an essay. Yep. Except it doesn't just have to be a word. It could be like a full stop that's wrong and everything will still break. Which is never fun. That is a weird shadow. What is going on here? Slime shadow. Making that visible. We're getting the icon. Oh, I still need to actually set icon element. Okay. Let's try it now. One more attempt. My stream's bugging out a bit. I think that's good. I can't no, I can't zoom in. I mean, I can kind of see the shadow and I can see the icon. I think that's working. Yeah. Okay. I believe it has worked. So if the Arsenal slot has a slime display icon. There we go. I think that's correctly linked it all up. It seems to have worked. Yes, indeed. Cool. Now, I still haven't done the text at the top, so we should do that. I think that'll be the final thing, and then we can actually get into... That should be name. Then we can get into the... Maybe, honestly, throwing slimes. The hard thing with throwing slimes is I want to do it right, so I really kind of want to go get like a character model first so we can actually have it work with the animations and stuff. I haven't done much work in animations in Unity yet, so I'm not sure how that will work exactly. So we'll just have to figure that out. Okay, let's go ahead and make sure it will always fit within the bounds. Give it a position somewhere. Yeah. We can just move that down a bit. 4 pixels should work. Let's just make sure that looks at least somewhat tolerable. If it's too low, it's gonna kind of clip the gray icon, which is what I'm trying to avoid. I think if we just leave it as default, but actually move the entire thing down, I think that'll work better. So at the top, just move by a couple pixels, just to make it a little bit more separate from the top of the Arsenal viewer. Yeah, something like that'll work. Okay. Let's call this slime name. Yeah, I think that would be fine. Then let's go ahead and get at the top. No. Ooh, what am I doing? At the start, it'll be if the slime is actually at the top. Like if it's the first one. So if I is 0, then we'll deal with the text. Which will just be get slime name element. Slime name, and set the slime name element text. What will be the respawn? Like how will we survive? Will it be cloning? Well, I'm not too sure fully what all the dangers will be yet for the character. I mean, I guess you might be able to drown, and like if you get hit by fire or something. I don't know if I'm gonna have any lore for that, or if that's just gonna be a part of the game, right? Like, you don't always need lore for everything, so it could just be fade to black and they wake up in their bed. You know, maybe they just had a long day. Because the game, it has a grounded visual sense, but at the end of the day, right, it is still hand-drawn, it is still semi-cartoonish, so having a bit more of a relaxed way that things happen, right, where you die, you just wake up in bed like you've woken up from a bad dream might be the way to go. I'm not too sure. I don't want to lean too much into sci-fi though, right? Like, tech is cool, and I guess technically, in fairness, I will have a portal at some point, but I don't want to lean too much into it. I mean, most of the first few areas are going to be very natural, very like meadows and mushrooms and stuff. What would this be? It is dot text. Or they will be teleported, but your stuff will not be with you. Yeah, something like that. Clear out your inventory. You'll keep your arsenal, I think. Right? You don't want to lose your slimes. I think that's unfair for players. But yeah, you'll just lose whatever's in your inventory, resources, that type of stuff. Why is this so hard to use the UI builder? I just want to set text. Should not be this hard. But how do I set text? Is it a specific? I guess it's a label, in fairness. Yeah, okay. Let's do that. Let's go get make this a label. Now I should be able to set text. There we go. Okay. And the text will just be Slimy's name, which would just be Slimy. What we do need to do, actually, let's do that as well. Let's first get this if statement up. So if this is the first slime, show selected slime name. Okay, then let's grab that, and we're gonna put this in the actual selection as well. Here and here. And then what we'll do is we'll go the arsenal current selection name and do that here as well. Actually, I think I need to do that here. Yeah, so we should not be using Slimy directly. That is definitely bad practice. Arsenal I and Arsenal I. There we go. Can we also deselect? Well, there won't be really any need to deselect, so let's if forgot the if statement. So basically the way it works is you're going to run around and you'll just have one of the 6 slots selected, but you're not gonna, like, it's not like you're gonna actively have it in your hands like a normal inventory system. It's when you hold right click, then you're going to pull out and like start aiming the slime that you have selected. So once you let go of right click, you'll just put it back and then you'll run around like normal. So think of this like an extra selection. It's not your inventory selection that you're running around with your hands in constantly. if team list current selection is not null. If there is a slime at current selection, show slime data. Okay, sounds good. Yeah. It'll be really just like the Arsenal's basically a separate system entirely. You're going to have an inventory and an Arsenal. They're two separate things. I think that'll alleviate a lot of the problems that some people have. Why is that still not working? 119. Oh, I'm using team list. Of course I am. Spelling errors constantly. Yeah, so like a lot of issues that I would have in games would be, you know, you're running around, but if your inventory is full of all the creatures that you want to use, you can't store the items. And if you want to store items, then you can't take creatures. Here, you can have 6 slimes for use while exploring. There we go. Otherwise, you just have like a whole nother inventory. Basically, that's just no issues whatsoever. Carry whatever you want. And you'll be able to store like bulk amount of slime. So if you wanted to catch like 20 basic slimes, you could do that and they would all go into your inventory, not your arsenal. Your arsenal is only for tamed slimes, and each slot will only house one singular slime. Go, and then let's remove the slime text as a default. There should be no default in the UI. So now I should be able to hit play, and it will show nothing, then it will show slimy, and then nothing again. So slimy, nothing. Slimy, nothing. Cool. There we go. Now we have a slime that we can throw around. Great. The next step is going to be maybe the team manager. I don't know. I really want to get throwing slimes working. I feel like that would be a good thing to do. It's just... Yeah, honestly, okay, let's do it. I mean, we can always adjust it later, I think. That'll be fine. Okay. Is the player going to be the one who first clears an area, makes it safe, and then the scientist just come in? Well, it's mostly going to just be you. It's not really going... Like, the scientist is more like a guide. I think that's the best way to view it, is the player is the only one there exploring, and... because they're researcher, we will have lore that says other people can technically come. And the reason for that is so we can have co-op. I do want to have co-op, and, you know, you'll be able to have essentially other researchers, but it'll all be players running around, and you'll build your own base. It'll be like your own area. The scientists above, they will just be guides. They might send messages. Maybe they'll send like shipments. Like they'll, maybe using one of the teleporters, they'll send over like a package or something. But I don't think I'm gonna have any other human NPCs running around. Yeah. Okay. So let's now... We already have Arsenal up, Arsenal down. So let's get an aim system going. Let's check our input. Not the input handler. Player, I think. Do I have a... Input system. Here we go. Input actions. Let's chuck that on there. So we need an aim key and then a throw key, I guess. Let's call one aim. I don't know if we need to do this in the input, or if we do that directly through just, get mouse button. I think it should just be here. Yeah, okay. Aim, and then we'll make another one for the row. There we go. So, if the player is aiming, pull out the selected slime. Is pressed, I think, because it's going to be while you're holding it, so it's not going to be just one frame. And if the player presses throw the selected slime, this one is a pressed this frame. This will be two separate functions. And we might split this up into actual functions soon. We'll probably will do that, but for now this will be fine. So while you hold right click, and then I guess we'll make another one for else if the player stops aiming. Put back the selected slime. So that was like was released this frame. Actually, we can make this one was press this frame as well then. You could also make special missions for co-op. Yeah, we'll see. I don't want players to be forced to play with others, right? Like, if you don't have friends, you shouldn't be forced to play with people. But you also do want to make playing with a friend exciting and give them a reason. We'll see. Could just be like a puzzle where you could use a slime to help you, or your friends can help you. Something like that. So when we're aiming, we're going to need quite a few things. We might... Let's try to make a quick sketch, I think, on how I want this UI to look. You can pull out the drawing tablet. I think it's just going to take a second for Critter to show up on stream. Let's just make a standard 16 by 9. Okay. Is it going to be only online, or will it also be offline? It's going to be completely offline, and co-op will be handled by one of the players hosting it. So the same way Grounded works, than most local survival games, for that matter. There won't be any like dedicated servers that I'm running or anything. Okay, so when we're holding right click, we're going to throw or put out a slime. We're gonna have that, you know, in the hands of the player. I don't know how to draw an arm in a throwing motion yet, but let's make that black. If you have, you know, your slime, imagine that's an arm throwing. We might make a bend in that or something. I mean, this is just to show you what the plan is. It does not need to be that good. Yeah, you get the point. Okay. Here you have your slime. You're going to throw your slime. So, every slime will have a list of abilities, and you'll be able to change the abilities that the slimes can use. But every slime type, obviously, will have unique abilities. So, what we need is... And this is the arsenal, so this is already taken. We cannot put anything there. We need a spot to show your abilities. If we assumed you had an inventory at the bottom of the screen, your confidence is admirable. It's kind of an I mean, I'm just roughing this out, so I can draw better, but this'll do. Okay, so this is our inventory down here. So we can't put anything here. Our arsenal's on the left, so we can't put anything there. We'll have a big arm on the right, so we can't put anything on the right side. We might, probably not, might have like a mini-map or something at the top. So we could probably do the bottom left corner, I guess. I mean, it's right below the arsenal, so that could make sense. But if it's temporarily up, it could also be to the right. So if we try the right, then what we do is just go something along the lines of like a box or something, ability 1. The name of the ability. Ability 2. Name of the ability 3. Name of the ability 4. I think 4 will be the max. So maybe if we were to add another for no ability, maybe something like that could work. Obviously, we have our reticle in the center as well. Let's just put that there. So as you go to throw, you'll be able to see your 4 abilities. 1 will be selected, so that'll just be you know, a low opacity box or something around the selected ability. and then when you hit left click, you'll throw the slime, and it will do whatever. I think that works. So what we need to do then, first, because we're not going to have abilities immediately, right? It's going to take a bit for me to add an ability system. So first step will just be throwing. Hold right click, left click to throw. So let's do that. Okay. So if the priority is being able to throw, then what we need to do... Let me move my mic a bit. Okay. Sounds cool. Yeah. It's not going to be like pure combat stuff. I want abilities to be a lot more usable. You know, use it for traversal and stuff. So... when we start aiming, we should first definitely stop the player from being able to chain. Oh, that probably doesn't matter. Okay, let's say if throw is pressed and we are still holding aim, is pressed, then we will launch it. Versatile, yeah. The slimes will be as versatile as possible. You'll use them for traversal, you'll use them for exploration, for research. Abilities can be pretty much anything. They could be used just to solve puzzles, right? Use them to break cracked walls to unlock new areas. All of that. So what we want to do now then is just simply create a copy of the slime, I guess. So if I just said, that's the slime type. So the slime type needs a prefab. Let's add that here. Prefab, and we need to add in a slime data component to the prefab, so let's do that. Under the basic slime prefab, fragment shader might be a problem. What is this? Let's just talk about the lighting, that does not matter. Okay, so on the scriptable object, we need to set basic slime prefab. Why do I have 2? Oh, I think it's version 2. No. I only have 1. Let me just add in slime up here. Basic slime. Where does this prefab come from? Oh, it's a model. That makes sense. It's missing the body material though. Let's just give that a body material. Okay. There we go. Makes much more sense now. Let's go back to assets, back to basic slime. So that has a basic slime prefab. And in this prefab, let's check it out. We need to add in some slime. No, it's not a mono behavior, so we can't add slime data. That's a problem. I guess I can just add in slime data as a variable to the controller. Wouldn't be the worst thing to do. Have a slime data. I think that's fine. So now all we have to do is essentially just go we need to add it into the slime data. So let's get slime prefab, which will simply be the arsenal current selection dot prefab. No, slime type dot prefab. There we go. Let's add in some hands to the player. So this will be where the slime actually gets thrown from. So we'll go throw transform, I guess. Add a space. So we want to throw probably from around here. Something like that. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. This should work, but you never know. So let's go ahead and add in the throw transform. Then here we can simply instantiate. Slime prefab will parent it. Well, no parent, but throw transform. I think we just did it from position. Yeah, throw transform rotation as well. We don't need game object at the start. Get the slime's rigid body. And we'll just add some forward force so it launches forward like we threw it. So we'll just add force with a vector 3 forward times. We'll give it a throw force. I mean, we'll change the variable eventually, but we'll just do 5 for now, I guess. Let's see what that does. Might not do anything. Make sure slimy selected. Hold right click and left click. We need to assign throw transform. That makes sense. It should be here. Okay. Now let's try it. Hold right click. I'm lagging again, that's not good. And left click. Still breaks it. 141. Slime type prefab is not an instance of an object. Let's see. We have a prefab. So that exists. So that would be Arsenal current selection is not being found. Oh, yes. Okay. Select slimy, hold right click, left click. There we go. not much force actually being applied, but we have a slime. They launch out. No errors, that's from before. They're not moving, so we will need to fix that. But that kind of works. Okay. Next step is we have to make sure that there actually is a slime. So we can probably just add that here. So if the current selection is not null. We can add more of a forward force. Let's add a throw force variable. Let's go. I don't know what category I'd put this under. For now, it'll just be throw variables. Make a throw force. We can default it to 15, I think. That'll be fine. So we have our throw force. I think that should be fine. Now, I'm not sure exactly why the slimes aren't moving. So once we instantiate this, we'll see what happens. First, hold right click, left click, and nothing happens, which is good because nothing is selected. Then we select Slimy, and we launch him out. He did not move far at all. Give him a throw force at 10. I don't know why that was on 0. It was very laggy. I need to fix that again. What is happening? I don't know why. Honestly, it might just be my computer's been on for too long. In fairness, let's see. My computer has been on for 18 days. I might just need to restart that at some point. But we have slimes. One's working. So that's something. Let me just delete these two to help fix some lag if that's the issue. Which I doubt it is. So, why is this slime not moving? We can give it... It's not gonna matter. We give it a higher ground check. Like 0.5. It should definitely know that it's grounded. So that's not an issue. Gravity's not an issue. It just doesn't want to move. I don't know why one of them moved and the other... I mean, maybe it's just there's no nav mesh? I don't know why that would be a problem. Where's my nav mesh? Show, please. Okay, let's rebake the nav mesh. I don't see... Oh, gizmos. There we go. Haha. We should be ignoring the player. I don't know why that's not ignoring them. Let's just disable that for now. Re-enable. Okay, so there's definitely a complete nav mesh. Now, they are kind of launching... How do you word it? They're launching up. That could just be the fact that they're colliding with the player, potentially. So, like, if we were to just position this a bit forward, which would be fine, frankly, visually, they shouldn't collide with the player, which should leave them to actually just launch forward, essentially. give it a good throw force of like 20. And then we've got the rigid body all good. We're gonna add some forward force, which should be fine. I don't think there's anything that's locking its velocity. Yeah, no, we're only ever adding force, so that's not a problem. So let's try it, I guess. We can very clearly see that the nav mesh is surrounding the whole area, so that should definitely not be a problem. This lag is really getting to me, though. Okay, hold right click, left click. I mean, it immediately worked, I guess. There was absolutely zero force, though. So I don't know what's going on with that. If I mean, I can clearly drop as many as I want. And they're all working. Okay, so that, we got them working. That's good. I have a big problem here with the look rotation. So I will need to fix this, because this is frankly just annoying me. Look rotation viewing vector is 0. Is there a way I can just clamp it or something, I guess? I mean, is it just target direction is the issue? Like, if target direction oh, no, not vector 3. That's definitely not it. Quaternion ident. We can just do new. That'll make it a deeper one. Let's see if this does anything. Hopefully it does. If we can get that working, then at least we're not going to have a ton of console spam, which would be nice. I think that worked. And now they're just not moving at all, though. If I spam some of these, it might just be because like they got placed a bit wrong. Yeah, I think that's all working, so I don't think that's an issue. Okay. Cool. So we have that. Now we're still not actually having force apply. I'm not sure why that is. I could actually, you know what? We need to make it a an impulse. That's what we need. Yeah, an impulse. That should launch it forward. Next, we'll lower the actual transform here, so that it's lower than the camera a bit, because we're kind of seeing them spawn on top. And we have to keep in mind, the slime's pivot point is at the bottom. So the slime's ending here. So let's see what that one looks like. This might be an extreme force level, but let's see. Right click and left click. Nothing. But it has a 20 throw force. God, I don't know what's happening to my lag. That's really bad. Okay, well, we have the throw force. I don't know why that does not want to work. I know why that doesn't want to work. I am dumb. We need to be using the Slime's rigid body, not the prefab's rigid body. Oh boy. Okay, let's try like a force of 6. Okay, and this lag is not good. Oh. I mean, that works. We'll try a higher force, definitely. Maybe 12. There we go. So now, our issue is that it's not, it's being global force, not local force. Which is actually pretty easy to fix. I think that's, if we just put the throw transform in the player camera. Do that, set the throw force to 15. I think that'll work? Question mark? Or nothing will work? Oh, wait. Need to select Slimy. Still sideways. Why? Can the player choose the force? Not manually, so what I'm going to do is essentially you'll be able, as part of the gameplay, you'll be able to unlock upgrades. So, you know, you'll go from like just throwing the slime to maybe using more of like a blaster or something that can launch them faster. Because I can work that into the actual upgrade path, right? Like certain materials need like a high velocity impact to break or something. So I think that'll be more as you upgrade. You'll be able to like go back, I think, so you're not forced into it, but yeah. Let's see. The throw transforms forward is here right now because I'm looking up. So that's good. That's what it should be. So why then, when I throw the slimes, does it not do that? We're adding the force to the slime's rigid body, so that's working fine now. Is there another comma that we can do or something? No. Okay, let's try something then. Let's just disable all of this for now. Disable gravity, all of that. And the collider. Let's just see where the slime is facing when we throw it. You could also make a basic upgrade tree for the gun. Yeah, it'll be something like you can unlock a projectile launcher and then you'll be able to upgrade that projectile launcher, essentially. Add in other benefits. I feel like a fusion thing would be cool, but I don't think it's needed. I don't want to copy all of Slugterror's ideas. Okay, so that one, it's launching forward. Now if I go here, it is facing where I want it to face. Okay. So it is doing that. which means that the issue is just in the vector forward, I guess. Could be, it's probably a vector forward from the player, I guess. Let's see. Hmm. Oh, is it transform, not vector? I think that's it. No. Maybe? Please? No. What am I... No, slimes transform. What am I thinking? Here. There we go. That's the local transform for the slime. I think that'll work. You can make a mutated slimes. Yeah. There's a lot I can do with the slimes. I mean, I definitely would like to be able to combine slimes, right? Like into new types of slimes and experiment on them and stuff. I think that would be cool. There we go. I'm not sure if... I don't think I want to add like a temporary fusion like when you throw them. I think that's a bit much because that would literally just be copying Slugterra. And I don't want that. But definitely you should be able to like combine, make new slimes, make combinations of slimes, all of that. Okay, launch. There we go. Oh, they're sliding a lot. They're gonna move? Some of them are. Why is this one? I think it's just because it's maybe a bit too rotated. This basic slime. 5, reset its rotation. You gonna move? I don't know why some of these just don't want to move after they get thrown. It's a bit confusing. But we can fix sliming would be fun. Make it so that you need to breed and or train a fusion slime. Yeah, it'll be to combine slimes to make like a new slime type. That would be through like breeding, maybe some experimenting, maybe giving them like another slime's resource or something, so, something like that. Yeah, I don't think that, like I said, I think I won't do like a temporary fusion thing. Yeah, I think that's way too hard to, not like too hard to make work well, right? Because you have to design puzzles around fusion, and that's just probably a bit too much. Okay. They don't know how to move. Is in the mass that I can add? I just don't want them to slide. How do I stop them from sliding? We definitely need fixed rotation, so I should remove like the I think it's the X rotation. Might be the Y rotation though. I think it's X. A fusion chamber. Yeah, fusion chamber could be a cool thing to add. like adding that as like a machine or a building thing to your base. That could be cool. Yeah, like if I made them once they're thrown, they should wait for an impact. Actually, that probably makes more sense, if anything. Okay, we can forget about sliding for now. We definitely need the slimes to always stay upright, though. So let's fix this rotation. We're currently using throw transforms rotation. We need essentially a rotation that only moves in the Z. So basically, wherever the player is looking like this, it will move, but it will never go up, down. It'll never go tilted or anything like that. So in this case, that's Y rotation for Unity. There's pretty much two ways I can do this. I think the easiest way would be to add easiest way would just be to use the player transform, I think. Like if I just used the normal transform rotation, because the player can't rotate, and then instead of using the slimes transform forward, what we can use is the throw transform forward, because that will be relative to how it's looking. So we can add force in a specific direction, like, and it can be up, down, tilted, but the actual slime will always be facing flat, I guess. I don't know how to word it, but the game feels smooth right now. So right now, left click, that launches forward, and the slime's ready to start moving. Shoot it this way, slime's ready to start moving, and we can shoot them up like this, shoot them all around, down like this, and they're always going to be flat. Oh, not flat, but like, I think you get what I mean. No, they are partially... No, yeah, they're only rotated on the Y. That's exactly what we want. Because that's just that rotation. That's fine. Yeah. I think you first should think how elemental slimes work and who's actually weak against who and who are incompatible, and then add more slime types. Well, I'm not going for a pure elemental workflow for the slimes. So let me... Where's my... I think I closed it. Hold on. Let me bring up my website. Which, if you're ever interested in making your own games or story writing, check it out. aboundworlds.com. Free to use. Okay. So, yeah, I have, like, some basic element combinations, right? I think for the most part they'll work as common sensely as possible, right? Like a water slime will cool down a inferno slime. Inferno slime will melt ice, all of that. But I don't want it to be purely based off of elementals, because I don't want to be locked in to just the elemental powers, or, you know, I want to be able to create anything I want. So that's where, like, for example, Terror, instead of just an earth slime or something, you have like a rocky one, kind of a mud one, a fern one, and you have like mystic slimes, so arcane void. You have your gilded slimes, which are metals, so, you know, gold, silver, bronze, your crystal slime. It might have some gems, you know, an amethyst slime, things like that. And of course your miscellaneous ones, the sticky slime, tech slime, explosive slime and stuff. So It's still definitely a lot to figure out, definitely. But I think in general, I think in general they're going to be based more around the locations. I think that's the key thing I need to figure out is if I want to go create a cool lava volcano type of area, what slimes will fit in there? And then how would those slimes interact with the other slimes? Is there something that, makes more sense, right? If I'm adding a volcano, do I want to have lava slimes populate the area or like an obsidian slime or an ash slime, that type of stuff? I think one thing that's always kind of an inspiration for this type of stuff is the elemental masters for like a show like Ninjago, where essentially, if you look at all the different powers, where can I find them? Here. You have powers like lightning, heat, light, but you also got, nature, plants, poison, mind, technology, form, smoke, time, water, right? Not locked into literally like real elements or anything like that. Gravity, quake, shockwave, all that stuff. Sound speed, Okay. Well, we have throwing slimes technically working. What we need to add is some UI that shows the abilities. We're not going to have abilities, but I think if we add the UI now, we'll at least be able to know when we're actually aiming, right? So that'll be a key thing. So let's do that. That'll just be... Zoom out a bit. Here we go. And we might change the reticle as well. I think we'll change the reticle. Might not do that today, but we'll change the reticle, and obviously that will affect everything. So let's add in a new visual element. Let's call this abilities, I guess. And like everything else should be, this should all be absolute positioning. Have seen over 7 seasons of Ninjago. Yeah, Ninjago is a great show. I've actually, I started rewatching it a week ago, maybe? A bit more than that, probably. I think I'm at, I think I'm halfway through the Tournament of Elements, which is, what, season 4, I think? Because you got the first 2 seasons, then the rebooted, and then Tournament of Elements. Okay, why does an absolute position not work anymore? Let's... Wait, this was absolute, then I delete. Okay, so this is just not working. Why do these never want to work? Is it the margin? The margins are on auto. Okay, 50%. 50%. What type of scaling is this? Remove any shrink? That's not going to do anything. That shouldn't be right. I mean, if the top's 50%, then we make the... How did I do the reticle? Because the reticle is auto. It was 50% top, and then was it just a negative? Wasn't the margin? I think it's just here, the translate. Extend that a bit. I actually first saw season 3 of Ninjago. Interesting. I mean, the first 2 seasons are very different to the rest of the show, in fairness, because they didn't obviously know everything that they were doing yet. So it's not like you missed too much, you know, going straight into Rebooted, but still feel like, you know, gotta watch them all, right? There we go. And then we can make this one absolute. We'll do the exact same thing, a 50% margin and a negative 50 translate. I didn't even know that it was season 3. That's fair. To be honest, Netflix, I think Netflix, in fairness, has them as season 3 and beyond, but there's like 3 or 4, maybe even 5 different, like not even different seasons, different like entire pages for the show, so it gets really hard to know which one's which, where to start with. Also depends, I guess, if you saw it on TV or something, right, where they were just already at season 3. Let's see. So they're just doing a margin of 20 with a width of 120. Let's just do the same thing. We'll go margin of 20. Is that? And a width of 120. Okay. That. And instead of doing the spacing, we'll just do it directly through left. It'll be 20 plus 120. So, you know, 140. And then if we had a 20 spacing on that side, let's give a 20 spacing on this side. So 160. Height can be auto. Let's add in. Do we just do that as a visual element, I guess? I don't think there's like a list thing other than like list view, but we don't need that. Okay, so we'll just. Gotta remember the lowercase. Ability 1. Which can not grow. Let me give it a height. I don't know, 20 pixels, 30 pixels, something like that. And the width can be auto as well. And we just chuck a label in there. I need to add the actual fonts at some point, because I really don't like default fonts. I have my own set of 2 fonts. I use them in Abound Worlds. Like this one here, which is Barnscrift. I mean, where is it? Where's my font? Barnscrift. And then I have a heading font as well. Maybe if I did that. No, that's still Barnscrift. I don't know where I've put my head. I think I have one in pricing. Yeah, this one here, which I think is called Carter 1. Yeah, Carter 1. They're great fonts. They work with pretty much anything nice, clean, modern. So I want to get those fonts added soon. I will add them soon. For now, we're sticking with the standard, but eventually we shall change. 24 something. Align it centered like so, and let's add in like the keybind button element. Ninjago was just so random that you didn't need to know what happened before. It was, and still is, pure vibes. That is true. That is definitely true. It's a very random show, but it's a great show because of it. Okay, 40 pixels by 40 pixels, maybe? I don't have a glow. Why is this so small? Okay, the shrink is why. I guess because of ability 1. It has an auto width. It should shrink. Or it should... Oh, we have glow. That's why. No? Why does this not want to work? Okay, then let's extend this out a bit. So it's because the width here is 100%. When the width... Oh, that's the background width. Here. Should be like a fit content. I don't know if that's an option. Doesn't look like it. We'll allow it to shrink, I think. Because that shrinks vertically. I want horizontal shrinking. That's a bit confusing. We have a visual element, and then we have the label. First, let's make the visual element visible so I can actually see what I'm doing. We'll make that maybe a similar gray color, maybe a little bit brighter. So make the value, I guess, 60 or something. If we checked just the game view. I mean, once we add a shadow, that'll probably look fine. Okay, so we have the visual element. The label is just like it's being as long as it wants to be, which I don't want it to do. So its width. Unset that. It's all on auto, but there's no like fit content option. We can bold that though. Well, the text should be that same grey color as well. It's hard to see now with the light grey text. Maybe we stick with the dark grey for now. I mean, we can always change it later. At least we can see. So the width... I mean, I would like it to just fit the text. I don't know why that is so tricky. If it's on auto... then it still just doesn't want to fit. It's only because of this. Initial? Nope. The other option is we're just going to have to do like a fixed width for the text, which I'm not a big fan of, but if it's what I have to do. I mean, this is what? 40 pixels. I mean, if we gave the text like an actual name, instead of just ability 1, right? Like, I mean, just to like see how big the text might need to be. Ability 1 dash earthquake or something. So if it had to be this big, something like that, that's at 280 pixels we can make it. So we'll give this a width of 280 plus 40, so 320. Which should be enough to fit them all. Why does it still not want to fit? We need to add flex, I guess, to it. Actually, that might have been our issue in the first place, is not having any flex. Okay. Flex direction to the right. Yeah, allow it to wrap. And add in like a gap. I don't remember how to add a gap for flex. I don't know if I can or not. I mean, we can make it really easy, just do it on the label. If the width here is auto, yep, that's fine now. Then we just add some extra margin this way, 14 pixels. Let's add in a label inside of the element. And this would just be telling you that this is ability 1, or whichever ability it is. And essentially what keybind. This is essentially like just telling you the keybind, essentially, to activate that ability, or to select that ability. So keep that all on auto, then in visual element, align items centered and centered. And the text, just go center, center. Put it in bold. Put it at a size of 20, maybe same size as the outer label, I guess, 24. If anything, it should probably be bigger, 30 or something. That feels like it's not centered. There's no shrink or grow on there, so that should be fine. There we go. Let's label this. Hotkey. Container. I would use the word keybind. I think keybind sounds better. And then just ability name. Then we can just duplicate these abilities. I mean, I think it's what, 4 times. Now we definitely need some shrink, some flex size. So we need to add that. I just don't know how to add gaps. Like my best bet would just be margins constantly. Like all of these. It's not even gonna let me do all, but just adding in like a 10 pixel margin on all of them. so that needs to be much bigger. Maybe 20 pixels or something. Let's make the text all left aligned. I think that'll be better. I think that makes more sense as well. We can reduce that margin down to like a 4. Maybe a 5. So, ability. We call it something. Gold Rush, why not? 5 margin, align it to the left. And then ability 4. Fireball, why not? We'll fix that, left align it. Then we'll do the same thing for ability 1, is 5 pixels and left align the text. And we can add in ability 5, maybe, yeah, let's go no ability. Keybind is simple, it is just 5. The ability name, no ability, or like throw, something like that. Now we need to go create some styles. So let's go. Let's do keybind container. We need to add in. I need to remember how to add to USS. It's only been a week and I've forgotten. These just extract inline styles, right? Keybind container. There we go. Okay. Now in keybind container, we're going to make the text white. That'll make it a lot more readable. And because it has a dark background, so that should work fine. Then we'll set that to all of them. Can't scroll. There we go. And in keybind container, we will go ahead and add like a good little radius just to make it a bit cleaner. Yeah, 5 pixels should be good. Maybe 6. I think 6 would look a little bit nicer. Okay. Let's see what this looks like in game view. What is going on here? This doesn't look anything like UI Builder. Interesting. Maybe if I play, maybe it'll be better. I don't know what's going on here. Okay. That, I mean, it fixed itself, I guess. Question mark. We'll definitely need to add like a shadow or something. Let's go full screen just to see this a bit cleaner. So if we make the text, I think, a little bit lighter, so that it's not as there, I guess. So it's just not the same as the Arsenal. And then we will add a shadow, I think, just to make this readable. Which wouldn't be too hard. All we need to do is go ability name, make that a class. Then we can set the text color. Oh, that's background text. Here we go. No, that's outline text. Where's my text color? Here. Increase the value. About 50, I think, will be good. That's a good placeholder color. So then, ability name. To that. I think it should apply. We'll just need to clear out ability name stuff after. There we go. So now ability name, we just simply go unset all. Why is that not working? Did I not set the color directly in it? Slimes could be categorized by elemental type in between support, attack, and defense. Well, I just don't want to be locked down to elemental types, right? Like, yeah, I have elemental types, but I also want to have why is this not working? I also want to have just like a, how to word it, a I don't even know how to word. Just pretty much, I just don't want to be locked in by elemental types. I want to be able to have, you know, an amethyst slime, a fern slime, have a tech slime. Like, technology doesn't really have an element to go into, right? Most things have elements to go into. Some things don't, especially when you start adding in random slimes, right? If you want to add in a slime that's, you know, based on like an animal, that's not really gonna match an element, right? So I will have elements, but pretty much the categories are what I have on Abound Worlds. So technically a good chunk of them will be categorized by elemental type, but then you'll also have other ones like Mystic, Gilded, maybe like Animals, something, I don't know. Haven't fully figured them out yet, so we'll see. Okay, if I unset, there we go. Now we're getting it. Okay, unset all, and ability 1, unset all. Okay, there we go. And let's do the same thing for this keybind container. Background color, we'll set that to, I think it was 50 actually. Technology is an element of its own. Yeah, the hard thing with when you start adding things like technology is, are you going to have like a menu that says, you know, categories of slime, and you go to fire and it has, you know, five different types of slimes. You go to earth and it has 5 different, then you go to technology and there's just one slime. Like, what's the point of that as a menu? So, or as a categorization. So I just need to figure some stuff like that out, I think. It could just be a matter of, you know, maybe it's maybe it goes and I'm just trying to think. I don't know. I mean, right now technology, like the techie slime, sticky slime and stuff, they're just under miscellaneous. I will figure out a category name, but it might be like a name like, you know, the oddballs or something, right? Like just a name that represents a random amount of slime, or like a random type of slime, one that doesn't fit into the others. I don't know why the UI thing breaks like until you hit play. It's really annoying because like it's so bad. Yeah, I just pretty much can use this screen, I guess, but I think there's a text shadow option, just no normal shadow or something. Let's see. Oop. Where's my shadow? Here. Okay. I had a blur of 2, I think. Yeah, I think that'll work. Okay, let's go. Ability name. Give a good shadow. 0.2. Make it black. Or was it just 2? I think it was just 2. There we go. And then we'll do the same thing for the keybind container. Is 2 black. No? Oh. Interesting. I don't know why it only does it on the character, not the outside. That's I guess that's just a text shadow thing. That is annoying, to say the least, but we can make do. Let's just hit play and see what that looks like. We might need to make it a little bit darker still, but it's not bad. It's a bit blurry because it's a shadow, so might change that. Right. I imagine probably the best way to change it is actually just increasing the blur radius, maybe. No. It'd be nice if I could thicken it and still have it, you know, extend out, I guess is a way to word that. Because if I change the horizontal and vertical so that it sticks out more, like this, drop the blur radius, right? Something like that. I mean, maybe I do something like that. I'm not a big fan of this, but might work. Like that, no blur radius. Maybe even a no, I think we can keep it at no blur radius. Then from a zoomed out screen, maybe 1.25. Something like that, I think would be good. We'll do the same thing here. 1.25 by 1.25. No blur radius? Yeah, no blur radius. I really want to have a shadow behind the keybind containers themselves. I think the only way to do that would be essentially to copy the keybind container, put it above, delete the keybind in it. Can I not have it break everything? Put it in absolute, I guess. And then make it black. Here. And then once it's black, we can simply add a slight margin. We'll do the same as all the others, 1.25 by 1.25. It's not too bad. We can honestly probably extend this one even further. Make it a 1.75 by 1.75. No, that is way too much. We'll go 1.5. Nice in between. And then let's call this keybind container shadow. Give it a class. There we go. And then we can just simply add these in here. Okay, so now let's see what that looks like. It's still looking a bit blowy, so maybe we make it thicker again, but that's not bad. I think that's not bad. It's just to represent your keybind, so I think that's fine. We'll leave that as is. Then what we'll do is, by default, the abilities list will be hidden, like so. And then all we'll do is when you start aiming, get the abilities list element, which is a visual element. I think this will be the last thing I do tonight. We'll just get the abilities list, display the abilities list element. And then when you let go, or if you hit left click, we will just simply hide it. Like so. Let's see if that works. I mean, we had to do visibility dot something before, so I don't know why that's now just dot visible, but there we go. So, no abilities. Select the slime, you hold right click, and it tells you what abilities that slime will have. We don't have abilities yet, so it just gives you the default. You'd swap between them, and then you'd simply left click and it would launch the slime forward. Okay, one last thing we'll do is we'll remove them from your arsenal, but there we go. And I'll deal with the sliding later, but cool. We have slimes that we can launch. Let's make it, remove it from the arsenal, and then I think that we'll call that a night. I think it's here. I don't. So it's because I did style, I guess. Like I could just do visible equals true. Interesting. Okay, then we don't need team list here, right? Yeah, we can remove this from here because we added the team list element. before, so we'll just make that team list element. Fill that in. Cool. Okay, so now let's simply remove from the team list. So when we throw, let's take it away from your list. So we will simply just hide. There we go. I guess we just get the current selection. Honestly, we might just be copying some of the code up here, I think, actually. It's pretty much all the code from here. Okay. This element, current selection. And then we get the icon, delete the icon, get the shadow, delete the shadow, essentially. Oh wait, yeah, we don't need to do the background sides anymore because we fixed that issue as well. We go, and we will remove the slime from the arsenal, and we still need to do the text as well. So this will just be arsenal current selection. It becomes null, and let's also get this text here, which is easier now. Selection. There we go. That should be it. We hit play. Let's test it out. And if that works, we'll call it a night. So we select Slimy. Hold right click. We can see his abilities. Left click. And he's launched. The text did not change. So we will fix that. And I will make right click. No, yeah, that... Yeah, I'll make right click only work if you have a selected slime as well. But that works theoretically. We just need to fix the fact that the text did not change. So I'm not sure why that was. I think I just don't have the slime name. No, we do have slime name element. Oh, yeah. Text to nothing. Not to the name. There we go. So that fixes that. And then we'll only show abilities. Start aiming. Hey. That's a really bad comment, but they'll do for now. So when you try to start aiming, only do it if the current selection is not null. Realistically, that applies to stopping aiming as well. Doesn't technically matter, but it'll matter once we add animations in. So let's just test this out. I held right click, nothing's happening. Stop to slimy. We have our abilities, and I launch him out. He's gone. I can't right click anymore. Can't throw any slimes. And I have nothing in my arsenal anymore. Cool. Well, I think I will call that here for today. Ended up being a near 3-hour stream, so that's not too bad. I think next time we will try to... Yeah, I think next time we'll probably get like the team manager menu going. Now that we can throw the slimes, pretty much our core 2 things left for the Arsenal system is going to be able to pick up your tamed slimes, which means that we're going to need to add some data for taming slimes. So we don't need to add the taming methods yet. We just need to add the fact that that a slime is tamed. So we'll do that, and then we just need to be able to edit them in some way. Doesn't need to edit the slimes, like their name or anything, but with the team manager menu, so that like the Arsenal menu, the main, pretty much it'll just be this Arsenal, but across the entire screen. And there you'll see your 6 slimes. You'll be able to move their order around. So you can kind of customize it so that you can very easily press E and Q to swap between the slimes as you need them. So I think that'll be good. That'll be next stream. The next stream will probably... And I know I said this last time, so I should be really careful. Realistically, I do have some assessment, so it might not be tomorrow, just because I need to focus on assessments. It might be tomorrow. We'll see. There's definitely going to be another stream this week. Maybe it's Thursday or Friday. It'll pretty much certainly be before the weekend, so the next 3 days, we'll say. We'll say the next 3 days, but we'll get it done. Once the Arsenal system is all set up, the next step is going to be heavily developing the slimes, getting them actually walking around a bit better, you know, adding in being able to tame them, making them follow the player if they're tamed, all of that stuff. And then after that, I'll try to make a devlog video, so that might take a little bit of time. But then after that, we're going to work on the world building, getting some actual level design going, and work on the building system so we can actually start developing a method of building your base. But we'll see. That'll be it for later, though. For now, thank you for watching the stream, and I'll see you guys